So, as many of you playing the hit game Consensus Reality know, the devs have been pushing the latest patch, which includes the addition of the immunity granting potion item. This item is supposed to stop any of the effects of the current China glitch, which is going on, and many people have chosen to not update their software at all, and even those who have are actually still experiencing effects of the glitch. The problem we face today is that although many people have faithfully updated their software, believing that the devs will in fact fix this glitch, it seems that we've had to reinstall this same patch several times over just to get it to work as was originally intended by the devs, and they have even gone so far as to, in some servers, make it so that people who have not reinstalled the patch as much as 4 times are locked out of premium features of the game. While many people have been supporting the devs' efforts to try and patch out this glitch, which has caused many players to have to uninstall the game, some people have not been experiencing the glitch at all, or really to any significant degree, which is leading them to wonder why they have to keep reinstalling this update over and over again. In fact, the number of players up to level 35 that have been forced to uninstall the game is about 0.01%, so some of the more experienced players are suggesting maybe they should not get the patch at all, as some people seem to believe that the patch has caused some glitches of its own. Many people are quite concerned about the future of Consensus Reality, but as usual, this panic is really among people who don't really know how the game works. See, a well-known property of the China glitch is that it most frequently affects people who are already having some trouble running the game. That is, they might have invested too many skill points into the glutton skill tree, or they could just be running some really old hardware. Unfortunately, the devs have not really done much to emphasize or explain the benefits of the health skill tree, with some of the numbers seeming contradictory and others not even being listed at all unless you look more closely at the source code. Some veteran gamers have tried to make lists of all the different benefits provided by the health skill tree, but much of this is sadly lost upon the majority of the player base, who really just listens to the information the devs provide in the game. What I'm here to talk to you about today is a little known aspect of the health skill tree, a part which requires hardly any prior investment into the skill tree, and also requires very little EXP investment in order to use. Many people don't use this particular skill because its buffs don't really become apparent upon immediate usage, and even those who have used it think that it's kind of hard to use. The reality, though, is that this particular skill is one of the most overpowered in the entire game, and if you are a devoted gamer who's willing to deal with the slight debuff that comes with it, you may find that it's very beneficial for you. The skill I want you to invest in is called Consumable Raw Garlic, and a lot of people don't actually know much about this particular consumable other than the +5 flame damage it inflicts while in use. What people don't know about this consumable is that every time you use it, you actually gain a stackable +80 health buff, which lasts an extended amount of time. So the slight debuff of the flame damage is really quite negligible, especially if you continuously reapply the health buff. In order to see a significant change in your game experience using this consumable, you may have to reapply the same buff about 60 times or so. Of course, every little bit of stat improvement helps, but you're not really going to see a major change until you reach about 60 stacks of the health buff. If you were to run the numbers, you may actually find that this is far more powerful than the community and Consensus Reality would ever really want to acknowledge, because they might fear that users of the allopathic medicine skill tree might make a lot less gold because people would have less reason to purchase the consumables that they make. Some game testers have used this build for an extended amount of time, and what they discovered was that not only did it decrease the possibility of experiencing eye glitches in the game by about 63%, but there was also about a 70% reduction in the length of time that a player would be affected by the glitch. Knowing this, the China glitch could be severely reduced, and potentially even eliminate the need for future game patches. I'm not going to tell you that you shouldn't update your game, but if you're already a little bit hesitant to do so, or even if you have, but you're still kind of worried about the China glitch affecting your gameplay, then I highly suggest investing into the consumable raw garlic skill, at least until the China glitch seems to have passed away. If players started using just this one consumable in the holistic health skill tree, then it could dramatically change the game, as many people think that the only viable healer build right now is the allopathic skill tree, and the in-game economy is kind of reliant on allopathic skill tree being the primary healer build that's used. The reason this is somewhat game-breaking is because a lot of people think that you have to invest a massive amount of EXP into the allopathic skill tree to get any benefit from health skill trees in general. But the EXP investment you have to put into a holistic skill tree is actually much, much lower in comparison. At the end of the day, though, sadly, many people will choose not to use consumable raw garlic simply because they don't know about the plus 80 stackable health buff that comes with it, and they just see the plus 5 flame damage debuff and decide it's not worth their time. The thing is, though, if more players opted to use this consumable, the current patch and any future reinstallations might be made essentially irrelevant. And really, even if you do think we should continuously patch our game until the China glitch is completely gone, there's really no reason not to invest just a very small amount of EXP into this skill. Any player could significantly improve their game experience just by committing to the continual reapplication of the stackable plus 80 health buff. To be frank, though, I think that the player base is full of too many noobs who are just, even if they know about the health buff, they are not going to commit because of this tiny bit of flame damage that comes with it. Really, I think it's quite telling about the community of the game in general that most players won't take this extremely temporary debuff, even if it does make them a better player in the long run. It seems they would much rather choose skills with a very low skill ceiling to carry them to higher levels, instead of actually utilizing skills that could make them much better if they actually took the time to master them. But anyway, there are a few quick tips that any noob to the consumable raw garlic skill should know before they start using it. First off, do not consume the raw garlic item too quickly, because if you do so, it could kind of cause your game to bug and initiate the puking glitch. Never consume the item in its entirety all at once, rather just opt for smaller portions and waiting each time you consume a small bit for any flame damage to completely go away before you continue. Furthermore, never use this item more than one time daily, because if you do, the flame debuff could actually turn into the much longer lasting burn debuff. And also, some players may not even want to use it as much as daily, because if they have a lower flame resistance than other players, they may experience the numb tongue debuff, which, although does go away, it can impact your game experience temporarily in a slightly negative way. If you do experience the numb tongue debuff, then I recommend stopping using the consumable raw garlic item for at least 2 days. Just at least until, it's mostly gone. So if you are a player with a lower flame damage resistance, then I recommend maybe starting out just every other day using the item, as your flame damage resistance will eventually go up as you use this item. Though we shouldn't, as a community, expect the devs to change their desire to have everyone patch the game. At the very least, we can do this bit for ourselves to make sure that we don't have to personally worry about uninstalling our game due to the China glitch. Spread the word about this, especially to players you know who may not have the best hardware, and maybe we can eventually overcome this China glitch without the inherent fear that many players have about patching their game. And if this does circulate throughout the player base, then maybe, just maybe, we can actually get the health skill tree the recognition that it deserves.